All right, welcome into TexAgs Rewind presented by Yeti. Ethan Jones, Luke Evangelist joining me for this one. You do a lot of stats for us. Can you do stats about every time I say, actually you can't do this, but every time I say like, comment, subscribe, how many people actually like, comment, or subscribe?
We need to do that. We could find a way to do that. I feel like on YouTube.
If I say it, though, like actually, does it matter if I do it at the beginning of the video or at the end?
I don't know. I feel like you could track that because, YouTube has all the analytics and stuff. So.
Well, this is me delaying the inevitable of talking about the bad things he brought onto the show. There was a lot of bad things, but we're going to talk about the good things. Luke, tell me what was good on the program.
Yeah, I love the Jamies, Jamie McCoy and Jamie Morrison.
The Jamies. Love me the Jamies. Charean Williams was also on the program, Pro Football Talk, an Aggie great. Mike Hammett, the voice of the Warhawks. He actually gave some optimism for ULM. I'm hoping there's no optimism. I'm hoping zero, like absolutely zero. And, of course, we kept it real with Jordan Pugh. That and more here on the TexAgs Rewind presented by Yeti.
Well, I don't know if you saw my tweet. I'll still call them tweets, but I tweeted at you after the season opening games, and I said Josh Reynolds is going to be hard to beat, and Josh Reynolds was hard to beat. I mean, with that Lions upset of the Chiefs, forget putting an asterisk on. I don't want to put an asterisk on any game. Like Dan Campbell said, that 1-0 doesn't have an asterisk after it. They beat the Chiefs. Josh Reynolds was a big part of that. He led the Lions with 4 catches for 80 yards. His 33-yarder was just huge there late in the game. So he's number one. Nobody beat him, but Miles sure played a great game. Everybody's talking about him. Has a good chance to win Defensive Player of the Year. 2 tackles, a sack, 4 quarterback hits, a tackle for loss. Just outstanding in that upset of the Bengals that they had. So he could certainly be number one, but I thought the Lions' upset of the Chiefs was a little bit bigger. And number 3, he could be number 1, too. Mike Evans had an outstanding game, 6 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown, the upset of the Vikings, 28-yard touchdown. Probably his last season in Tampa, but he's going to go out. I tell you what, he's going to go out in some glory the way he's playing. He looks really good right now. And he said he's going to put the contract behind him. The fact that he didn't get a new contract, will be a free agent after this season. And he started off the season really well. A shout-out to Justin Matabuke. He had a sack, and the Marvin Leal had 3 tackles, a quarterback hit, a tackle for loss. Leal will be a bigger part of that Steelers defense with Cam Hayward out for a while, so look for him to get a lot of playing time coming up.
Did want to kind of follow up a little bit on tight end. You mentioned Jake a moment ago. Good to get him going, man. Like he's going to be hopefully an integral part of what they do, especially when people are coming after Connor. He's got to get it off quickly.
Absolutely. Here moving forward, I like to see us get it in his hands quicker, even if it's just something short, 2-3 yard pass. He seems to be the type of guy that once you get some confidence brewing in him, let him see himself catch 1 or 2 early. I think it'll be a big deal. With as tall as he is, we got to get him as a presence in the red zone and, downfield strikes. So I like to see him come into that role, but his size is, again, something that you can't coach. And it looked to see that he clearly made the step as the next guy up.
Talking to Jamie McCoy here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Anything offensively you didn't like?
Let's see. I would like to.
I'll give you one. The line.
Yeah. Well, see, to me, I think that was more out coaching. Or not necessarily out coaching, but they were bringing it to us.
Okay.
They were. It wasn't just like they were just depending on their D-line. I saw them bring a few corner blitzes. We were running into the boundary. They brought a corner blitz 2 or 3 times. I saw linebackers blitzing. It seemed that Connor, even with the great throws that he made and great catches receiver made, he always had to be on the move. He was always under duress. Where the Van Dyke guy, to our discredit, he was back there just having a field day, picking, I hated seeing us in zone coverage, 3 guys over here in the middle of the field, but nobody's on anybody, and he's hitting the wide open guy on the sideline. It's like, instead of putting him in space, come after this guy and everybody man up. Get your guy and let it be known, hey, this guy's making a catch on me. So I hate to see it, but I feel like we got out coached in that aspect. I don't put it all on the O-line. I think it was just them being aggressive coming after us, which is what you got to do. I want us to do the same to opposing teams.
It's a difficult schedule because you feel like looking at the Sun Belt through the first 2 weeks, it feels like there's only one weak link, and oddly enough, it's in Jonesboro with Arkansas State so far. I mean, they have been the leader of this league for so many years in the past decade to 15 years, and they are really struggling this year. So it's a tough league, week in, week out. Anybody can win any game, any given Saturday. It's kind of SEC junior a little bit, but it's a fun league to follow. That's why some people call it the Fun Belt, and I'm expecting some wild games this year, and hopefully ULM can end up on the right side of 4 more of them and see if they can get that second bowl invite.
What does ULM have to do to make this game interesting on Saturday?
I think just doing what they've been doing against Army and Lamar. Of course, it's got to go to a much bigger scale. That's ULM doesn't turn the ball over, and they don't commit penalties. They're among the top teams in the nation in those 2 categories. If they can not make silly mistakes, which they haven't done through the first 2 weeks, and just kind of take care of themselves, if they can find a way to force a couple of turnovers, they have 7 takeaways through 2 weeks, and they've got to hit a couple big plays here and there. I think the biggest thing is Lamar got it to the 4th quarter against ULM, where the Warhawks started to sweat a little bit on Saturday because all of a sudden Lamar was back in because ULM couldn't slam the door shut. That being said, I think ULM kind of let the foot off the gas a little bit, getting up 21-0, lost their edge. It's a little different going to Texas A&M. So if ULM can get A&M to the 4th quarter and it's a 1-score game, the pressure's on A&M. It's not on ULM at that point. So if they can get to that point and play error-free football, it's going to take a perfect game, but certainly this team seems to have the ability to play like that. We'll see what happens Saturday.
The missed tackles. I've heard different reasons for it, but when it's that many dudes, like what was the reason?
One, out of position. That was the main issue. So when you turn the film on and you start breaking down the defense, it's 2 things. So on the touchdowns that were scored, a lot of that was one-on-one coverage, and we just got beat, flat out just beat. Okay. The other things were the other touchdowns. I think the one down the sideline, fourth quarter, I think Gilbert, I want to say, missed that tackle. That's an effort play. Those are things that coaches preach on all the time. They preach all the time on those, but you have to make those tackles. It was an effort because he put his shoulder in. There was no urgency to get him to the ground. There was no want to get him to the ground. What you saw a lot on those missed tackles were guys that were out of position and guys that weren't urgent in getting guys to the ground. That's the problem. If I have a coach, I have an issue with that. I have an issue with the effort. I have an issue with the urgency, knowing where we were within the situation of the game. So I told you, the game of momentum. I thought there was a heavy momentum swing going into halftime, and we just were never really able to recover from that. But a lot of that could have been cured if we could have got off the field on 3rd downs, and we could have prevented big explosive plays on Miami's end. So that's something that has to get corrected immediately on defense in order for them to make the run that they want to make.
Jordan, the Yak, 241 yards, man. That's a passing game for somebody with no yard. 241 yards after the catch, man.
Yeah. And so let's go back to my emotional play. So here's another thing. The offense wasn't bad.
Right.
The offense was not the problem. That's the thing. And when you look at the defense, it's just defense is very simplistic and it's difficult at the same time. All right. So offenses want to have a lot of eye manipulation, but a lot of it boils down to, can you create havoc? Can you stop big plays? Okay. We did a good job of creating havoc on the line of scrimmage in the first half. We didn't do a great job in the second half.
All right, Ethan, should you do it or should Luke do it?
I don't know. Let's have Luke do it.
Let's let Ethan do it.
Okay, this is going to be like a fight. I'll go like. You guys say subscribe, I guess.
Yeah, subscribe.
Share.
Comment.
This is a tennis match.
All the stuff. Everything.
I may never do this again. You guys have both.
That was
kind of
bad. Yeah.
This was like the yards after the catch.
Yeah.
That's what you guys just did there. Just kidding. We'll see you next time.